Okay, my name is Rick Baker. I used to be a makeup effects guy in the film industry, but now I'm a makeup effects guy that's retired who's just having the best time making fun stuff every day. I was the first generation of kids to grow up in front of a TV, and I was very attracted to monster movies, I called them, and all the stuff that came before me is definitely influenced my style, and the good and the bad even. I like old 60s googly eyes monsters, and I also like old masters of paintings. So just life in general influences me. And here I have a bunch of books I was just talking about that I hardly ever look at anymore. But it used to be every project would be, okay, I'm looking through animal books and insect books and all these things just to get inspiration for ideas. And it comes from all over the place now, though. As far as I remember, I've always drawn and sketched. I don't remember the very specific one. My father could draw very well and paint very well. And I remember specifically him showing me how to draw Popeye, the cartoon Popeye. And I still have that sketch somewhere, and it turned out pretty well. And it was really about, breaking it down into shapes. One of it was like a backwards E, and things like that. But I was always drawing monsters and things like that. And I also remember the first time I pushed clay around, I think it was in kindergarten, and we had some water-based clay, and I made like a little man. We didn't bake him, but I ended up painting it with some little watercolors. I still have it, and it's terrible, but my fascination with sculpture began. And I always felt that I was better pushing clay around than I was pushing paint around, and really focused on sculpture more than painting at that point in my life. I think I was just born motivated. I was an only child. I grew up in a room by myself, which my bedroom was my little makeup laboratory, my mask making factory, and I always say, what do normal people do to keep themselves entertained? Because I've been retired for almost 10 years now, and I still pretty much work 10 hours a day. If it's a short day, it would be an 8-hour day, which I rarely do. And it's just who I am, and it's how I have fun. And, being motivated isn't a problem. The problem is I have too many things I want to do, and I know that there's a time limit on this life, and it's not that far away. So that's one reason I work 12 hours a day still. So I ended up buying an Amiga computer that had Lightwave on it. And it was a point and polygon modeling program, but also had a cool video switcher, which I played with a lot and had a lot of fun with. But I started playing with that, and I just went, it's not how my brain works. The point and polygon thing just wasn't working for me, and I couldn't do anything organic. And I just thought, okay, digital modeling, not going to happen for me. And then I heard about ZBrush, and I got a copy of it, and because I had used Photoshop for many years and After Effects and a lot of computer programs, I thought, well, I can figure this out. And then this was the early stages of ZBrush. It was a completely different animal then, And I tried using it and I go, what the hell? I can't figure this out. So I found out about the forum, and I looked in the forum, and I downloaded a tutorial on how to do a head, and then as soon as I got it, it was like, again, instant love. And my wife was really upset because she was never seeing me because I was on ZBrush day and night, playing with it. And it was, I truly loved it again. And it was like no fear sculpting. You can try these things, and the way it was designed, it wasn't this point and polygon thing. You could just really like pushing clay around, and I love that so much. I loved that it continued to evolve and change. Yeah, one of the things I really like about ZBrush is that you can poly paint, and you can have, like I said, a lot of times I'll look at the sculpture that I'm working on, even if it's a practical sculpture that I scanned. But design-wise, you can paint it, and I wish you could paint in the real world like you can paint digitally, 'cause it's so nice to be able to do things and cut the translucency down or transparency down, and Yeah, I mean, it's just a great creative tool for, making anything, to be able to look at and play with. So, I mean, like I said before, I'll say it till I die, I love ZBrush. Well, I was happy to hear that they're going to do an iPad version for the ZBrush. I mean, the concept of having it anywhere you are is great, you could be sitting in your car in a parking lot waiting for something, and working on the ZBrush thing, but having a pad that you can take to bed with you, then I end up doing that. And then it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm not getting any sleep. So I've intentionally not brought my iPad to bed with me during my Halloween prep time because I know I'm going to stay up all night playing with it. I mean, I can really see that to be a very handy tool, especially, if you're in like I said, in a conference with 47 producers who can't make up their mind. And if they said, well, maybe if you want to change that a little bit, you could do it right there on the spot with them, which I really see as an advantage. And I think having them involved in that would actually help them decide, oh, I saw him do that and I suggested that, so I like that design, so I can see that being a real plus.